Hey, it's Mazzy. Welcome back. This is the fourth and final Record Store Day preview video I'm going to do for this year, this April 12th, 2025 Record Store Day. Now, I'm a fan of Record Store Day. I know there's people that say cash grab, I don't want to get out in the morning. I love getting up early and hanging out with my friends. We're fortunate enough in Seattle to have a lot of record stores that participate, and so we spend the entire day, and after that, you'll probably see the results of that here to give you a little taste of what we pick up. And at the end of this video, I am going to showcase, or at least give you a taste of the records that I'm looking for that I don't have in my possession. But I do want to thank the various labels. I'll mention them as I go along. I got a handful here, from jazz to rock to soul to French pop. And you're going to see them right now. So first I want to start with three records. These are archival live releases from Resonance Records. The first one, this is my very favorite. These are curated by Zev Feldman. He always seems to have the knack to finding rare tapes and curate these really interesting collections. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, this sound is incredible on these releases. I think there was only one, Bill Evans one, that I personally wasn't really interested in and a fan of. But this is my favorite of the three that I've received so far. Mingus in Argentina, the Buenos Aires concerts. This is a recording from 1977. The sound is excellent. Now, this is a very heavy triple record set, opening up after the introduction with one of my favorite Mingus compositions and a wonderful tribute to the jazz legend Lester Young, Goodbye Pork Pie Hat. I absolutely love that song. I have many versions of it from various artists, including Mingus himself. They all come with these really nice, put together, curated booklets, obviously showcasing the tape of the recording. This live recording is excellent. Mingus, of course, is on stand-up bass on almost all the tracks. 2 of the tracks are solo improvisational piano, and those are beautiful, beautiful pieces. What I do like about this, too, and all this series of records, are the curated books in here. And usually there are interviews with either people who are at the sessions or in the band or related, so you get a good cross-section. It's not just one essayist. Yes, there's usually a biographer or someone, and in this case, Brian Priestley, author of A Critical Biography of Mingus, does a wonderful essay in here about this period of Charles Mingus in Argentina. We all know that a lot of American audiences, we took a lot of these jazz artists for granted over the years, and obviously in South America, in Europe, and Japan, they seem to be more well received, and finally they're getting their dues here and selling more records possibly than ever. Now, this was mastered and restored by Matthew Luthans at the Mastering Lab in Salina, Kansas. Did an excellent job. I love the triple gatefold, and this is a heavy, heavy record in terms of weight-wise, in terms of a package, but these are always beautifully put together. I don't have the knowledge of these other artists as much as on some of the other releases. Ricky Ford on tenor, Jack Walrath on trumpet, Robert Nealons on piano, and Danny Richmond on drums. Just, it's beautiful interaction. I'd say this is mostly a mid-tempo record. It's not as on fire as the next one I'm going to show you, but this is a really beautiful. And of the three, if I had to pick one from my point of view, from my interest and my musical taste where I am right now, it would be this one, the Mingus in Argentina. Next, this is my second choice. And I don't always like to rate music, but people like ratings. And since everyone only has certain budgets and certain dollars, this is literally on fire, and it's called that, Freddie Hubbard on Fire. 1967, that summer of love in the Bronx. And what's interesting about this is just a side note that it's mentioned in the liner notes in the booklet here. This is live at the Blue Morocco Club. I was not familiar with that club. Jazzy Blues Soul Club in the Bronx, owned by Mickey of Mickey and Sylvia fame. If you don't know Mickey and Sylvia, I think in 1957, they had a massive radio AM hit of Love is Strange. I love that song, wonderful song. Of course, it would be later covered and beautifully by the Everly Brothers. And of course, it was in 1971 or 72, Wings Wildlife, Paul McCartney does a wonderful cover of Love is Strange on that. I just love the way that is recorded, mixed. I digress. So with that money, Mickey opens his club. She owns the Blue Morocco. Didn't last long, but there's some great recordings from it apparently, and we got two today for this record store day, and this is one of them. Again, another wonderful booklet here with the master tape. I believe this one was mastered by Bernie Grunman, yes, at Bernie Grunman Mastering. And this again is well curated with a wonderful introduction by Zev Feldman himself. And there are interviews, conversations with the son of Freddie Hubbard, as well as the son of some of the other musicians. And again, Bernie Maupin remembers Freddie Hubbard as well. So on this record, this is a band I know really well. Bernie Maupin on tenor sax, Kenny Barron on piano, Herbie Lewis on bass, and Freddie Waits on drums. A magnificent set. Another 3-panel gatefold. Just really well put together. I mean, I loved this. Now this record is on fire. Side A and side B are one songs that make up the entire side. As in side C, Echoes of Blue. In fact, every single side except for the 5th, 6th side is one track completely. Another really well-recorded record. This is Freddie Hubbard's On Fire, live at the Blue Morocco, 1967. And lastly from Resonance Records is Kenny Dorham's Blue Bossa in the Bronx, live from the Blue Morocco. Another live session from 1967 of that club in the Bronx. And this is Kenny Dorham on trumpet, Sonny Red on alto, Cedar Walton on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, and Dennis Charles on drums. This is a great collection of songs and a lot of great intense interplay on this. My favorite track is side C, the entire song, Bad's Groove. Now, it's interesting to hear that version. It's a composition by Milt Jackson, but obviously no vibes on here. Milt Jackson plays vibes on the versions I've heard of that. But this is a really interesting, intricate record as well. My only concern about some of this, on a couple of tracks, that Sonny Red seems to either stray from the microphone or gets a little reedy, thin sound in there. And I kept noticing it in the left channel. It's not an aberration. I think it's just the way it was recorded and maybe where he was standing in relation to the mic or microphone setup while they recorded this record. It does come with the book again, and there's memorances of a family of Kenny Dorham right here. The great thing about these curated collections from Zev, that he brings in artists who have worked with him. They're not all related to the specific recordings, but you bring in the biography and the musical collaborations on these records. This is a really good sounding record. There are only, as I said, a few passages on a few tracks that have that thinness, and it seems to be only on Sonny Red's playing that I've noticed it, at least. So that is my only, my only asterisk on this one about it. But again, those 3 Resonance records are excellent recordings and great performances, jazz performance, archival performances from 1967. Now we're going to switch to craft recordings. I don't have to say anything about this. Search yesterday, Mazzy and Sex, and you'll know what this is from the Jazz Dispensary. That's detailed in another recording. Now this is excellent. Okay, I've always loved this record. I do have several copies of this, but in stereo. I don't have a mono copy. This is a craft mono release. We all know every year they do, I think they did an Art Pepper, they've done Bill Evans. They do a mono limited edition for Records Today from Kraft. This is originally on Riverside, of course. This is produced by Orrin Keepnews. Mulligan meets Monk. I am a massive fan of Thelonious Monk. And Mulligan, I realize I have very little on vinyl. I have collections of his West Coast recordings on compact disc, that baritone sax, and the mix of that baritone sax, which you don't always hear a lot, those of you who don't have a lot of jazz records, mixed with the beautiful piano playing of Monk. It's a really dynamic difference, and it's a really kind of the bass of that baritone sax with the wonderful tinkling of the black and white keys. You got Wilbur Ware on bass, really defined bass playing on this. The tone is neutral, but it's right in the pocket there. It's not too much, not over bloated. You got Shadow Wilson on drums, and this is recorded 2 dates in 1957. This is an excellent recording. These tend to go fast in terms of Record Store Day, these craft reissues. They're always beautifully put together, heavy cover stock. This is mastered from the original tapes, all analog, by Kevin Gray, and it obviously reproduces the original Riverside label. Next is one that I wasn't familiar with. Now, of course, I know Carla Thomas, and if you don't know her, you know that song B-A-B-Y, Baby. Now, this is a record that was not originally issued at the time. This is a Memphis session from 1970. I believe only a single was released. There was, some of this was released on a CD set about 10, 15 years ago. This is the first time the entire session, or most of the session, has been issued on vinyl. This is from Kraft Records as well. This is produced by Chips Moman, great guitarist, studio engineer, and producer. Worked with the Highwaymen, worked with a lot of great R&B and blues and soul artists out of Memphis. And this is a killer record. Very orchestrated, very lush. It's got that 70s thing. Think Dusty Springfield in Memphis, but not as, it's ironic for me to say not as soulful when you have that white woman, Dusty Springfield. It's a little different feel of what was produced on Dusty in Memphis. But Carla Thomas, sweetheart, she covers a lot of pop artists, singer-songwriters of the day, that Country Road, the James Taylor song, I Loved You Like I Love My Very Life, I'm Getting Closer to You, To Love Somebody, the Bee Gees song. So she's bringing sort of the pop artists of the time, arranged, produced, soul music with strings, but a killer voice and really an interesting recording. This particular one is from Stax originally, but not originally released in this form. First time on vinyl on this kind of baby blue vinyl, and of course reproduction of the Stax labels. So this is the one you couldn't get on vinyl complete. This would have been just some tracks on a CD. So Carla Thomas, Sweetheart, kind of a cool, soulful release from Kraft Records. And now 3 records from Omnivore, the LA reissue label, who's been putting out some really cool releases over the last year, both on Record Store Day and outside of Record Store Day. This is a band that I knew about completely, but I totally missed, and I couldn't get away from in the 90s into the 2000s, and that's the Rembrandts LP. I believe this is their 3rd LP, and there's an interesting story about this. And this is a time in the mid-90s, I believe 1995, where there was another handful of these Beatlesque pop bands. I keep thinking of Fountains of Wayne, and I'm sure there are others that were very commercial, very harmony-driven, short 3-4 minute songs, Beatle-like forever. In fact, you'd hear Beatle riffs here and there throughout. I would hear the Rembrandts on the radio, but I never bought one of their records. And partly because, and this is probably one of those bittersweet things as an artist, it helped them and probably was a curse. They did a 30-second clip of a song written by the producers of the TV show Friends. And that song is called I'll Be There For You, the theme from Friends. It was on the TV show, the opening thing. You know that, I don't know if it's that Rickenbacker riff of it, It almost sounds like something that we would hear in the Monkees in 1966, 67. In fact, it seems like it could have been right out of a Monkees album at the time. And you couldn't get away from that song. And apparently some DJ reworked it, re-edited it, and turned it into a full-fledged song. And of course, the record company had them go in the studio. And right as this album was coming out on compact disc, they did their own version. Unlisted, one of those hidden tracks that drove us CD buyers crazy. And that was the theme from Friends. And I'm sure it was hype stickered, and it made this record sell more than it probably would have. Now, of course, they always had to live up to that Friends thing. But this is a good power pop, Beatle-esque record. I listened to this a couple of times, and I'd never heard the entire record, but it was in that vein of all those groups in the mid to late 90s, almost like a reaction opposite of the grunge scene, going back into the 1970s with bands like the Rubinoos and all those power pop bands in. It was kind of a reverberation. You get the LA Birds singing here a little bit. It's a two-person band here, the Rembrandts. I just never listened to it. Now, this was on a CD, so of course those CDs are long. This is issued on 2 LPs, color vinyl, in this case a nice bright orange, and it has a remembrance of the Rembrandts here. And of course it goes into, again, the curse of the Friends theme in here. And I bet you that is something that, you know, when you have to live up to that one hit that becomes so major, like a TV hit, beyond just having a one-hit wonder band, it's not that. It's having that TV theme that the paycheck, I'm sure, is good because it was co-written by them and the show's producers and writers, and they added to it and they finally re-recorded it, and it's finally out on vinyl for the first time. So if you're a fan of that power pop stuff, Rembrandts, Omnivore just put this out for Record Store Day. First time on vinyl, 2 LPs with 4 bonus tracks that were not on the CD. Next from Omnivore is Viva Doc Pomus, Songs for Elvis, the demos. If you don't know who Doc Pomus is and you're a music fan, you need to do a little more research. Viva Las Vegas, his latest Flame, a bunch of hits for Elvis and Elvis Presley movies were written by Doc Pomus. Save the Last Dance for Me by the Drifters was written by Doc Pomus. One of the great songwriters in the Hall of Fames of songwriting, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fames. A classic songwriter of crossing over from the doo-wop era to early rock and roll. He is an important person in rock and roll history. This is a double album put out by Omnivore. It has the insert here telling the story of him and these recordings. When they were pitching different artists, they were pitching different people, and Elvis finally latches on to a track, and A-side, B-side becomes a major hit for Elvis, and of course, as a songwriter and publishing for Doc Pomus. Here is She's Not You, one of the early Elvis Presley lacquers or demo tapes, I guess. Songs for Elvis, the demos. He sings some of them, other people sing some of them. Some of them are fully produced, some of them are more stripped back. But this is an excellent, like almost like the publishing thing that you send to artists. So if you know what publishing demos are, and you know how this worked back then, it would be more produced than some artists today, and they're working on their computer putting together demos. They went into studios and recorded these. Now these from Omnivore, double record. Of course, these are mono. These also have an orange vinyl component to them. These are pretty heavy, like I think 180 gram records, but an excellent rock and roll. If you're a rock and roll fan, not just an Elvis fan, but for that early 60s to mid 60s rock and roll thing, and just like a great rock and roll tune and great lyrical content, and you know, I love you, you love me, that kind of teen love lyrics. This is really a great collection. I really enjoyed this. This is one of those things that makes you smile. And even the songs that you may not know. Now, some of these songs Elvis turned down originally, but a lot of them were in various movies like Double Trouble, Clam Bait, and others. So Elvis Presley, songs written by Doc Pomus, Viva Doc Pomus, you know Viva Las Vegas, one of the great, great songs. And a great version. Remember the Dead Kennedys version of that? So this is on Omnivore, Record Store Day. Great collection. Now this is one of my favorites. I know this music so well. This is also Omnivore. This is Francois Hardy. I'm a massive fan of the Yee Girl movement, that French pop, that late 50s into the 1960s. Of course, the Yee Girls' names came out of the Yeah, Yeah, Yeah of the Beatles. Serge Gainsbourg was involved in a lot of these records, and with Francois Hardy and all, Francie Gall and others. I have that great Yee book, that little square, 8.5 square book you ought to check out and get it. But this is excellent. Now I have all the reissues of these 1960s albums. This is from 1962 to 1967. This is like a hits package, a double LP hits pack, and it's excellent. I have the individuals that came out over the last, 15 years from Light in the Attic, that they're full albums, but most people don't want to dive in and get every single album. She merged from the French pop, really produced stuff, to the kind of almost singer-songwriter, folksy country stuff of her records, and they're excellent. This is 4 sides, French, some English. You can see this is the catalog of the proper 6 albums around this time, and it's broken up obviously into 4. They show you the picture sleeves of all the singles around this time. This one is on a rich lipstick red vinyl. Even though I have these 6 albums and I pull them out a lot, this is a fun record. If you don't have any Francois Hardy, if you don't have any of these records, even if you do, this is the party record for the best of here. This beautiful, beautiful performer, this beautiful woman singing these great, great pop songs. There's an innocence to it. There's a joy to it. They're romantic, they're love, and a lot of them are in French in that beautiful recording of that she does around this period of time. So this is amongst my favorite of all these records that I received for previewing Record Store Day, because this is just a fun collection. So I urge you, if you have no Yee Girls, no French pop, this would be an excellent introduction to that music. So now quickly, I'm going through old school. I printed out some of the ones. Now, there's probably a few I'm missing, but I'm gonna either check these out. I may buy them, I may not buy them all. There's a lot here to buy, so I'm gonna probably cut back. But as a Beatle fan, the 12-inch single of Be Here Now, Living in the Material, what's great about it, it's the B side, or the double A side, is Beck doing a cover that was only originally available as a digital download. I am all in on Beck. Obviously, I'm a Beatle collector, so Beck and George Harrison on Dark Horse Records, Be Here Now. As a Ry Cooder fan, 1972, what a great year. He was doing a lot of live radio shows. This is from a live radio show, Live at the Main Point, 1972, 3000 from Rhino. I suspect this is from a radio broadcast, I'm not sure. There are some gray market things I've seen over the years, and I have a lot of recordings. I don't usually pick up those on vinyl, but I love this picture of Ry Cooder there. Another one, this is on Liberation Hall Records, only 1,200 copies. And this is probably not for everyone, but I am a Byrds fan. And that later period of Byrds, one of the greatest guitar players in the Byrds was Clarence White. Melodies from A Bird in Flight, 1963 to 1973. Of course, he was a member of the Kentucky Colonels, one of the great flat-picking guitar players. Obviously, his electric stuff with the Byrds is just brilliant. And Clarence White died way too young, so I'm looking forward to that. The co-inventor of the B-bender for the Telecaster. Ralph Stanley. What's that song, Oh God, or Oh Lord, or from Oh Brother Art Thou? One of the great bluegrass country crossover gospel singers, gospel performers. Remember the Stanley brothers? He was the remaining Stanley. I have this album on CD, so if I don't get it, I might put it back, but only 1,200 copies. This is an excellent record. This is one of his later records, Man of Constant Sorrow. Obviously, they used the old brother thing, and he came back and did this record. A lot of young artists on here, like Robert Plant and Ricky Skaggs and Jim Lauderdale, Gillian Welch, Buddy Miller, Dave Rawlings. Bluegrass, crossover, country classic. This is an excellent record because I do have a compact disc. So that's a maybe. This is a for sure. Of course, these first few are kind of crossover folk country guitar related. Marty Stewart and the Fabulous Superlatives. I'm all in on him. Seen him 3 times live. Incredible psychedelic cosmic cowboy music. And this is Space Junk. 2 records, 1,700 copies. Records Today exclusive. I can't believe they're not reissuing this normally or putting this out normally. I think this is a new record. A first full instrumental record, so it's gonna be really cool ass, twangy. If you like twangy Telecaster, smoking guitar with a country edge on it, that's a little cosmic, this is one for you. I'm definitely grabbing that. I may get this, I might pass on this for now and maybe put it off. This is the Jayhawks album, Blue Earth, 3,000 copies, exclusive release, so I don't know. My budget's getting tight here, as we see. Emmylou Harris, Spy Boy, that live record has never come out on vinyl as far as I know. I do have the CD, all in on Emmylou Harris, 1,500 copies on New West Records. And that is a double album, Belly. I don't have this Belly record, 4AD Records, 4,000. First release, I can put this aside for my budget because that'll be out again later. So I don't care if it's not color, I'm fine about that. Now this is a first release. I think this is also Zev Feldman worked on this. Now I didn't get this, and this is Patsy Cline. Imagine that, the Lost Recordings, 1954 to 63. I'm not sure Bradley Owen worked on these, but this is really cool. So first release, I might wait on this as well, but I'm all in on Patsy Cline. Hindu Love Gods. This is fun. Now, it's not all successful. This is Warren Zevon backed by R.E.M. And it's really killer. The key track, the killer track, is their cover of Prince's Raspberry Beret. Raspberry Beret. That's the one. What a great song. The rest of it's hit and miss. I have an original, so I probably will pass on this right now. This is a Record Store exclusive, so I don't think I need 2 copies of it. But if you like Warren Zevon and you're an R.E.M. fan, this is a must-have. But I'll probably put that aside for me. This is a must. This is the Warren Zevon box set. This is 3 albums over 4 LPs that he released for Giant Records, the label Giant Records. So you have Mr. Bad Example. I think only 1 or 2 of these have ever come out on vinyl. Mr. Bad Example. You have Learning to Flinch. Now, Learning to Flinch is that wild, intense live record, double CD, where he's mostly, not only playing 12-string guitar, and it's really, really great. And Mutineer. I believe I have Mutineer on vinyl, I think. Mastered by Bernie Grundman, 2,250. This might be my first choice for Record Store Day. I'm all in on Warren Zevon, so I'm going with that. Metal Machine Music. They changed the cover. Some people hate when they change covers, but why not? 2,500 copies. Exclusive. Metal Machine Music. I printed these out because I don't want to hold my iPad up again. Old school. Public Image. This is the different mix. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in it, but depends on the budget. I want this. This is an exclusive release, and I got their last issue by Thievery Corporation. This is the Cosmic Game, electronica, beat music. I love this CD. I have it on CD. Thievery Corporation. Some may argue that, oh, this kind of stuff's better on CD because it keeps playing, continues to play. That may be true, but I like to get these vinyl version of this. And the last one I cranked it, it surpasses the CD, the audio of the CD, even though it's probably from the digital thing. I don't know, but when they master it perfectly for vinyl, it's a big difference. Thievery Corporation here. This is the 20th anniversary of this for Record Store Day on red vinyl. Replacements, Record Store Day. Now, this is the remix. This album is so much better on remix, the Ed Stasium remix. I have the box set with this. I believe that's a digital version on this. I can't remember that, if maybe the vinyl's on here. So I probably don't need this because I have it. But if you don't have the remix of this replacement album, Tim, this is essential. It is so good, it far beats the original. That's one of those few situations where the remix is worlds better than the original mix in the day. The Doors' Strange Days, one of my favorite Doors albums. There's a lot of these. I may get it, I'm not sure yet. This is work in progress, so it's almost like the sketchbooks of Picasso by the Doors. This could be good from Rhino, 7,500 copies. I'm almost getting Grateful Dead fatigue. How can that be, Maslov? I might wait on this, but I do like all their 70s recordings the best. And this is 1976, Beacon Theater, New York. So we'll see on that one, but Grateful Dead. And lastly, Gorky's Zatonic Mincy, yeah, that one. Can't even pronounce it there. I keep hearing good things about this. Everyone says, oh man, this is an incredible one. This is only 1,800 copies from Real Gone Music. This is supposed to be incredible. You can tell me more about it, but I've been hearing about this and people telling me about it. John Cale says it's his favorite album ever. Come on, John, really? Twisted, Pop, Diddy, Patio Song, remastered. It's a little bit bent, akin to Small Faces' Odd Gone Nut. So it's like a little, probably a quirky psychedelic pop thingy. That's it. Record Store Day. Get up early and enjoy the music. There's so much music, even if you buy one title. And I can't believe those of you like that just, you know, just can't stand and you yell out that cash grab bullshit. I can't believe there's not even one title here that piques your interest. Anyway, what do I know? This guy doesn't like it. Mazzy loves you. Take care.